waiting for the break of day, searching for something to say.
Good morning. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
Oh, and I just saw him pop on. Hey, are you Todd Brinker?
I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. Everybody, please forgive our absence yesterday. I had a conference that I needed to be at, and I had to get to Riverside by about 7:40, and there was no way I could do both. So,
oh, come on. The 91 is such an easy drive.
and I just needed to sleep in after, a late night getting over Game of Thrones.
That's right. So I'll talk about the conference later, but first we got to jump in to the final episode of Game of Thrones. Todd, did you watch it?
Oh, yeah.
And so
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, in the scope, I know it's caught a lot of flack, and the whole season has, and I've been one of the ones that have piled on that, and I stand by what I've said about the season being sort of bullet pointed as opposed to telling a story, and so I got that same sense. But in the scope of that, I thought that they finished it pretty well, honestly. I think that Jon was able to deal with his Mad Queen much better than Jaime was, and I think that juxtaposition was well done and well handled.
They broke the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
They really broke the wheel. I know people have complained about this season. I've really enjoyed it. I really have. And, I think that they tied off all the storylines. I love that Sansa stayed the Queen of the North. I thought that was wonderful. I think that she earned that. I'm also sad that the Stark name is, because Bran can't have kids, that there are no more Stark children. They say there always should be a Stark in the North, and Sansa is that Stark. But, I suppose her bloodline, her kids, they won't be Starks, but they'll have her blood.
You're saying that she won't force her husband to take her name?
No, I don't think that was a thing then.
I don't know.
In that fantasy world.
I don't know. I think she might. She's a strong woman.
She is a
That's
strong
true.
woman.
So,
yeah. She's not the sweet thing she once was.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Todd.
Oh, I was just saying she's not the sweet thing she once was. Thanks to
I don't know
Littlefinger,
that. Yeah, she's not naive, but I don't think she was ever sweet. She's kind of nasty to her sister.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, she was her behavior started out sort of as a preteen, right?
Yes.
And very much in line with that.
Well, I was going to say that I thought that the ending was beautiful, but there have been a lot of people who've said that they should have ended it after Jon killed Daenerys, and she was flown off by her dragon, and that would have been a more poetic ending. And then sort of left some stuff hanging, because the way they tied off some of those loose ends didn't make sense for some folks. And we're hearing lots of complaints from people about the specifics of it all.
Oh, I thought it was beautiful.
I did too.
I mean,
Don't get me wrong.
The thing about it is, Jon is nothing but sacrificial.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he didn't want to be king. He didn't want to be king of the North. He didn't want to rule anything. And he found himself over and over again, despite himself, putting himself in difficult situations and doing the thing that had to be done because it was the right thing to do. And he did that till the day he died.
And
he did that till the very end.
Even though he wasn't biologically, he was very much Ned Stark's son.
He was. Not that he died. He didn't die. But yeah, I agree.
But he was the guy who was willing to fall on his sword in order to do the right thing, and repeatedly did that. In fact, he's one of the few characters in the entire season that they didn't take his character, his personality, and flip it. And that was one of the big complaints that people have had, is that most of the characters had major personality and moral changes in the last two seasons since they've been off the books, especially. And he is one who did not. He was absolutely that guy.
So I thought Daenerys, I thought she stayed in line with her character. I always knew she would go crazy in the end. I really did, because, she had these grandiose ideas about her worth and her value and her place in the world. And, that corrupts, that kind of, you thinking that you're
chosen,
get
infallible.
chosen, infallible, all of that leads to some
Yeah.
pretty horrific behavior. And you only need to look at human nature to see that that's true.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I think what I disagreed with was that it seemed to be like a switch that flipped as opposed to a more gradual thing, and that's just my sensibilities of it, But other things too, like the entire series from almost day one, um, um, Arya was, you know, holding grudges and building this list and building it up, and then we come down to this penultimate scene where she's going to go after Cersei, and the Hound looks at her, says, "You don't want to be like me," and she goes, "Okay," and then she turns around and walks away, and it's like that just seemed completely out of character for somebody who had built into who she was. It's like they turned her into this, they took her from this sweet kid into this killer, and then she went, "No, I'm just going to be me again."
But you don't see that she. I mean, the Hound was a mentor to her, whether she liked it or not. And was kind of a father figure to her, whether she liked it or not. And I think deep down, he was this. He was a very hurt as a young man and as a little boy, and he had this tough exterior, but he was still that sensitive person. And I think she connected with him on that level. And I think that hearing that from him I don't think she could have heard that from anyone else.
Well, and also, her training as a killer was really as an assassin. And in the environment, as they were approaching Cersei, this is a war. This is a battlefield situation, and the building is crumbling around them. This was not your typical assassin's, attack. And I think that she recognized that as well. I think that if she's going to be the person who gets Cersei, it's going to be something that's planned out, that's stealthy. It's not this, I'm in your face, here I am to fight you and your soldiers.
Yeah. She's not a warrior. She's an assassin.
Yeah.
I think that's an
Yeah.
important distinction.
Well, I understand both of your points, and they're very valid. I just feel like, again, I think it was one of the another instance of where I felt like there had been a lot of build up as to who she was, and I felt like then to have that flip at that point just seemed senseless to me. I mean, why wasn't that when they first met up when they were leaving Winterfell? Why didn't he have that conversation with her then? And yeah, she hadn't yet seen the war, but this is somebody who had seen so much horror already. That wouldn't have seemed significantally different, I don't think.
But nobody had seen a war with a dragon. I mean, like they had that one attack scene, when the Tarleys both were killed. But there, Arya obviously wasn't there, and so she hadn't seen. I don't think she'd seen that level of war, with except fighting the dead. And that was the dead. That was black and white. That was, that was different.
Well, you know what? It certainly got all of us talking about it.
Yeah.
It's got lots and lots of room for debate. And in the end, I guess, that's really what makes a good final season or series ending type of show, right? It's not necessarily do you like it or not. It's, are you talking about it? Are you emotionally invested in it enough that you want to talk about it and discuss it with people? And that's certainly the case here.
So I think it's interesting that, the great king in the past, the one who built the wall, was Bran the Builder. And now you have the king, at the end of this particular age, Bran the Broken, and I just think that that's interesting. I really do. They're both Starks.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some real tragic characters in this show, though. I mean, poor Jon is got the worst luck with women. Right?
Oh, he does. although the true love of his life, you don't know anything, Jon Snow, love of his life.
Yes.
She was murdered. I mean, she was killed in battle, right?
Yes.
She was killed, and so
In his arms.
In his arm. Well,
He died in his arms.
yeah, she
Just
did.
like Dany did.
Yeah, but he killed Dany.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't that he did it because he hated her. He loved her. I think he still loved her. He teared up when he did it, but he realized he had the strength to say, I'm going to take the Mad Queen that I love out of the picture because she's going to be horrible for the world.
Yeah.
Whereas Jaime took the Mad Queen that he loved and tried to escape with her because he couldn't do that.
Well, that's
even
true.
though that's what we all kind of wanted him to do.
But Jamie Lannister really was not a man of character. He tried, and Brienne of Tarth tried to help him develop that. She saw that in him, but I don't think it ever was quite there.
Yeah.
When it came right down to it, he was about Cersei, and he said that as he was leaving Brienne.
Yeah. He admitted it. He absolutely admitted it. But I just thought it was an interesting juxtaposition because you had two guys in love with mad queens.
Yes.
One of them stopped her. The other one tried to save her and protect her. And we saw what happened. Neither of them ended up happy.
It was obvious that Jon expected Drogon to kill him, and he stood there ready for the dragon's fire. But I think that dragons cannot kill a Targaryen. Because
there was something kind of hinted about that, there wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, but there was the obvious proof, and so Drogon, you could tell Drogon wanted to kill Jon, but he couldn't. So he killed the Iron Throne, which was wonderfully symbolic, and ended that age.
Were you all surprised though that Jon and Tyrion were still alive? That Grey Worm didn't just kill them?
Yeah. That also is another thing that seemed a little out of character. This is a guy who was slaughtering the enemies of his queen in the streets without hesitation. And yet the guy who actually kills his queen, he throws in jail.
Yeah.
That didn't seem quite right either.
And he doesn't strike me as the strategic thinker who's going to say, I have to keep him alive or else these other people are going to come after me.
Yeah. He kind of become more of a strategic thinker, I think, prior to the death of Missandei. But once she was gone, I think all humanity that they had kind of instilled in him was gone again. He was like, I am a killing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. So with that, let's take a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We will be right back.
Hey, Ryan, do we have any beer in the fridge?
Nah, I thought you got some.
The game starts in 5 minutes.
And you drank the last beer at midnight on Friday.
I wish there was a place that delivered beer.
Yes, I'm Captain Crafted. I'm here to bring you beer. That's Captain, C-R-A-F-T''D. Why? Because there's no E, just a D, as in deliver, because Captain Crafted delivers.
That's right, the Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business with great prices and deliveries of your favorite beer, wine, spirits, water, ice, and mixers. Did I mention their great prices? That's CRAFTDBEER store.com or Fred Crafted Beer Store on Facebook.com. Make it easy. Google Redlands Beer Delivery. Look for Crafted Beer.
Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business, and I'm here to deliver.
They said it really loud and said.
Why are you listening to this radio station? Why? When you can host your own radio show. You're listening and you think you can do better? You have a message or a product you want everyone to know about. Host your own radio show. Team up with the area's best radio professionals and let them make you sound like you should be on NBC. KCAA NBC Radio, that is. KCAA produces more than 50 local programs each week on subjects ranging from business and sports to political talk, vegan diets, or even marijuana-related issues. We don't just broadcast on the radio, we broadcast to the world. Online, on TV, on social media, on Facebook. You'll be all over. Imagine what your friends will say. And KCAA reaches over 5 million people on 3 radio stations. Join the staff on 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM. NBC Radio. Jump on the KCAA Express. Call 909-793-1065. That's 909-793-1065 and get ready to transmit.
No matter if the market is up or the market is down, Phil Grandy and his Phil's Gang members prepared for market volatility and making profits.
Cisco in April, we're up 4%. We just got in that in April. Lockheed Martin, we're up now 7%. Facebook, we bought April 9th, we're up 10%. Morgan Stanley, we're up 11%. WLL, we bought April 1st, we're up 19%. And let's take this year, the Spiders, the S&P 500, we are up 16%. Apple, we're up 26%. 10%. Railroad, CSX, we're up 17%. And at the end of the day, when the market keeps going up and up and up and you're in that market, you're never out in time. You ride it all the way back down, especially with your 401ks. Let's change that today. 877-600-GANG, 877-600-GANG. Let's change it today.
Don't wait. Find out more at philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So yesterday, I was at a symposium with Dr. Bruce Perry. Now, Dr. Bruce Perry he's a medical doctor, and he also has a PhD. He's a psychologist, neurologist, and he talks about, the talk was really about infant neurological development and childhood neurological development. And it was so good, and he's super entertaining. And the room was filled with 1,600 people in San Bernardino, from San Bernardino and Riverside counties, focused on this early childhood space. It was brought. I mean, there were lots of sponsors: First 5 Riverside, First 5 San Bernardino, Riverside. There were some Riverside University Medical, and it was phenomenal. So I actually thought of Jensen as Todd. For those of you who don't know, Jensen is Todd's eldest daughter, and she would have loved it. So I text messaged her. She's like, "Oh, that sounds great." It was phenomenal. And the thing that it talks about how trauma rewires the brain, and how especially that first 3 years, but really the first year is so critical, that nurturing that's required, and how the brain develops. It was really phenomenal.
Todd?
Tobin?
Yeah.
You guys are like silence.
It sounds
crickets.
Sounds like it was a great time and a lot of interesting. I completely agree. I mean, obviously, it's not an area that I hold a lot of knowledge about or anything.
But you were a parent twice.
Other than parenting, that many people have done, and I coach kids, but they're a little older than that when I get them. They're 5 and up. But those early years are crucial, and I know that that's been part of what you've been doing with the nonprofits that you work for, is working specifically with that early development, and I think. Kudos to you and all the people who work in that area, because it is absolutely critical for children to get a good start in life, to have good nutrition, and to have lots of, age-appropriate and developmentally appropriate brain stimulation in order for them to develop fully and then move on into life and have the basic skill sets of how to interact.
The thing that was the most interesting to me, because everybody who works in this space has heard of what's called ACEs. And ACEs are adverse childhood experiences, and it's a list of 10 things that happen that can adversely affect how you develop as a child. And they're big things like divorce, and a parent is incarcerated, if there's domestic violence, if there's so they're all big things, and there are 10 on the list. And there's a lot of discussion there. And what Dr. Perry's added to that was what is equally as important is the relationships that people have, that connection to the people around them, and that humanity, we are social beings, and isolation can be as damaging. So neglect can be as damaging as the abuse. And people who work in this space, kind of intuitively know that's true, and that's certainly where the research is going. And so, connecting with your child, or it doesn't have to be your child, age child in your life on an interpersonal level makes a huge difference in how they feel about themselves. And for the two of you who have been teachers, when you connect with a student, and this is true for adults as well, when you connect with a student, what a difference that makes for that student.
Yeah, all the research in the last decade has basically said that the first thing you have to do is develop a relationship with your students. If you don't have that connection, that relationship, they're not listening, they're not learning, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's really important that you work on that part first. And it's hard. It's hard in our modern era to do that. And I'm going to say it's technology gets in the way, right? And we've had this conversation before, but these kids.
Cell phone.
Yeah, that's a major knock on technology, and I don't know that. I think that's a leap that hasn't been proven at this point, but there's a lot of people knocking on that.
So I have two words for you, Tobin.
Yeah.
And Todd. Cell phone lockers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
At school. Cell phone lockers at school. I don't think that cell phones have any place in the classroom.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny, when we first had them, we saw them as a possible benefit, right? Kids can look things up and use them in positive ways, but that's not what's happening. That's
Mm-hmm.
not what's happening. The kids are listening to their music instead of listening to the lecture.
Right.
Instead of taking the notes, they'd rather just take a picture of the notes, Yeah,
and I totally agree. I totally agree with this aspect of it. What I was questioning was the claim that this is somehow damaging junior high kids because they're not talking to each other, or high school kids, or even young. They are talking to each other. They're just doing it in a different way. We are a bunch of old people who are saying, "Get off my yard," because this is just how they're communicating. That because they're communicating differently than us doesn't mean that it's wrong or bad or going to hurt them. That said, it's also got to be managed and done at appropriate times, just like our parents wouldn't let us, if you're sitting in church, that's not the time to be having a conversation with the person next to you, right? And so it's the appropriate behavior in the appropriate place, and I couldn't agree more to take these things out of their hands and put them away. Parents need to buy a $10 alarm clock and wake their kid up that way, and take their phone away from them so that they're not laying in bed till 2 a.m. texting friends.
I think, too, for a certain percentage of the population, the online world, and for a lot of the kids like this, it's gaming, becomes a replacement for developing interpersonal skills and relationships with actual people. And it leads to loneliness and despair and wrong thinking. I truly believe that.
And see, I can see where you're coming from, but I think that there's also, people in that world would disagree with you, because they're very often, it's multiplayer gaming, and they're communicating with the people, and they're coordinating efforts within the games, and there's a lot of social aspects to it. And they would say that they have great friends online, and just because it's an online relationship doesn't mean that it's a bad relationship or that it's damaging them in any way. So I don't think we know at this point, and I don't think that the evidence is in that aspect of it.
I think we need education on both sides, though. I think that the kids need to be educated on healthy ways to use their technology and safe ways to use their technology.
Oh, clearly.
And then parents need to be educated on what their kids are actually doing with their technology, And what's fascinating to me, and we're learning a lot about cyberbullying right now as teachers, are the different ways kids are using their phones in ways that are harmful to each other. And we actually had an assembly yesterday just focused on bullying, and it's fascinating to me because in the old days when you got bullied, it just happened in the school setting, but now that bullying can follow you home via technology, and kids can be kind of brutal with each other.
Yeah, but they were brutal with each other before they had the phone, and they would follow each other home and walk to their house.
It's not the same, Todd, though. It's really not, because this is, you could shut your door and be at home and not be exposed in a way that you are now, because that phone goes home with you. And so that is a topic that deserves its own time, and we are completely out of time for this segment. So I am Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We will be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carter. There's still a high risk of tornadoes in the plains after twisters tore through parts of Oklahoma and Texas on Monday. The National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center said the tornado risk on Monday was the highest in more than 7 years. A line of storms is bringing more rain to central Oklahoma this morning before heading into Missouri and areas already hit with flash flooding. Rallies supporting a woman's right to abortion are set for every single state today.
At noon local time, advocates will be at various locations across the nation to speak out against abortion bans and to promote reproductive freedom. The hashtag Stop the Bans movement is being sponsored by groups like the ACLU and Planned Parenthood.
Mark Mayfield. And some Democratic lawmakers are urging House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to start impeachment proceedings against President Trump. They're trying to overcome White House resistance as House committees try to conduct oversight of the president. Pelosi is pushing back against the idea.
Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
It's time to take a look at our roadways. I'm Erin Brinker. In the San Diego area, this is actually all the way down on the 15 southbound. This is right before Rainbow Valley Boulevard. There's a semi versus car accident. Stop-and-go traffic is backed all the way up to Winchester Road. That's the 79, California 79. In Murrieta on the 215 northbound from Clinton Keith Road to Scott Road, there's a work zone. The two right lanes are closed for road work until 7 a.m. And in Devore on the 215 northbound between Palm Avenue and Devore Road, the left lane is closed for road work until 8 a.m. This has been your traffic report. Drive carefully, everyone. I'm Erin Brinker, and this is KCAA.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Lori. A chance of showers for this morning. An afternoon high in the mid-60s. Overnight showers, mostly cloudy with your low in the mid-50s. Wednesday, a chance of showers, then partly sunny in the afternoon with a high in the high 60s. Overnight, a chance of showers, mostly cloudy. I'm Lori, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California. KCAA 102.3 FM, Riverside 106.5 FM, Redlands, and the Legacy 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
How you doing? This is Gary Garver. In today's society, the majority of people are not getting enough sleep. I know I'm not. If you're like me and having problems getting a good night's rest, whether it's health or stress related, I have a solution for you. South Pacific Sleep Lab. South Pacific Sleep Lab will do an evaluation of your sleep pattern and will provide a comprehensive study so you can start getting a restful, peaceful night of sleep. They take all types of insurance, which will cover your cost of the evaluation, and they will even provide transportation to their offices at no cost to you. For more information, contact Tony at 310-999-1887. That's 310-999-1887. Tony even stays awake all night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can sleep better and rest easy. South Pacific Sleep Lab. Start feeling better and getting a great night of sleep today.
Broadcasting more local radio programs than any other station in California, we are KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So super excited to welcome back to the show Michelle Harris. The always effervescent Michelle Harris joins us twice a month to talk about beauty and lifestyle and health and wellness. And she is from Alive and Well TV, which is syndicated nationwide. And Michelle, it's always great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be back. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. So the weather is getting it's got a little warmer and then it got a little cooler. So that's just signs that that spring is going to be on its way out soon. So how do you keep fitness fun?
Yes, we want to get that bikini body ready. Now is the time because it's going to be here pretty quick. So fortunately, in addition to just your regular old fitness routine, you can throw some things in that'll make it a lot more fun. And one of those things, and we actually did this on our show Alive and Well, is aerial fitness. Have you heard of that?
Is this up in the air with the silks?
Yes, it is. And I will tell you, I have done it, like I said, for the show. And what it really does is it strengthens your core, because you have to hold yourself on there or things aren't going to go so well, frankly. So you really are trying there because you want to stay up. So everything you do on those silks is about 10 times harder than if you were doing just normal exercises on the floor. So, but it is really unusual and it's fun, and hopefully you do it someplace with great windows so you have a good view. But it makes you feel very Cirque du Soleil light, as I call it. In my case, extremely light.
So you have to have tremendous strength all over your body to be able to do that. I mean, and coordination and balance. It looks so hard.
It is less hard than you would imagine. They do have classes you can take for beginners, as I was. I thought it was really fun and definitely worth kind of getting up to speed a little bit. It's just so new and different, and it's a unique way to exercise, and it really does work a lot of muscles that you're not used to working, but they start you off slow. They don't have you doing little flips and all that kind of thing on the silks until you're ready. You just kind of go until you're used to that balance, and I am not the most coordinated person in the world, and I did fine when I was doing it in reality. So even if you're slightly uncoordinated, one of the things I liked is this made me feel like I was getting some more coordination.
Oh.
And so it's something I recommend. And then also, again, not the most coordinated person, even though my parents gave me ballet classes like a lot of little girls because I thought it was so pretty. I'm bendy, just not coordinated, but the bar fitness, it's been around for a while and it kind of comes and goes. But because it uses a lot of those Pilates techniques, again, with your core, again, it's keeping you very limber. To me, there's nothing better than some type of exercise that will build that long, lean muscle and keep you super flexible. And especially as people start to get a little bit older, you want to do the weights, you want to do the cardio for your heart, and, we have to keep all of that in shape. But if you're not flexible, as we get, much older, we're more prone to injury. So you really want to keep that flexibility there and do types of exercises that will not only keep us thin, heart healthy, but help our bones. And that's super important, and especially like the balance issue, too. That's going to help with that again. And something we're going to be shooting on Alive and Well with one of the folks from Dancing with the Stars. It's pretty hush-hush right now because we've been going around her schedule. But a lot of the instructors on Dancing with the Stars have come out with these dance studios that also keep you fit. Now, I did have a request that they give me a couple of lessons before we shoot this show. I am not ready for Dancing with the Stars by any stretch of the imagination, but how much fun is that?
Oh,
Dancing's just fun. Even if you're not good at it, who cares? I'm doing it. I'm not good at it, but it's just a fun way to stay in shape. So I would recommend, if you're looking for a new kind of exercise class, dancing. It doesn't even feel like exercise. It just feels fun. And another one of the exercise and training things that I love personally is doing a martial art like Krav Maga. We've also done Krav Maga on the show. And, Erin, I'm sure you know, as a woman, when you're in a parking garage or different types of places, I think it's so important that you know how to defend yourself.
Absolutely.
You can have all the pepper spray or whatever you have in the world, unless you can get to your, to your purse or your bag or whatever and get it, it doesn't really matter. So we have to know ways that if someone approaches us, we can basically fight them off. And it's also with any martial art and even boxing, I think martial arts like Krav Maga are more effective in terms of just being able to fight off an attacker because it trains your brain that you're going to fight. Because, again, as women, we're taught not to fight. at a very young age. So it's not our first reaction to fight. So it's kind of retraining your brain, but also they really know how to use your own body weight to go after the person who's coming after you. So that helps, but I do also really enjoy boxing. That's for a different reason. It's kind of a nice stress reliever, and it also gives you some good arm strength. I mean, really, boxing helps your whole body, so that's super fun, but the Krav Maga uses your opponent's strength against them and keeps you fit. So how can you go wrong with that?
That's right. So when you box, because I'm trying to picture you boxing, are you going at a bag or are you going at a person?
I am neither. I am going on this robot thing.
Oh.
I don't even know if it's a robot. It's plastic, so it's hard to call it a robot because you wouldn't really want to beat up a robot. And I will tell you, the plastic thing is very hard. And the thing that I was surprised that it actually, even though I was wearing boxing gloves, I have pink ones, that it hurt my hands to make contact with it. That's what you don't really know the first time you do. It's like, ow! So, but it's a great stress reliever. You have some pent-up frustration. That's a fun thing to do. I really enjoy the boxing, and it does keep you fit. And another big trend, and this is something that I think everyone enjoys, is doing outdoor adventures.
Oh, absolutely, like hiking or camping and, fishing and all those kinds of things.
And well, hiking, I don't know how much exercise you're actually getting, fishing, it kind of reminds me of golf. Like if you're using a golf cart, you're not getting so much. So, but you want to keep it to the hiking. They offer a lot of outdoor classes, and it's a great way to commune with nature. I'm not one to start going up, some big mountain that's in a really unpopulated area. I like to go to parks and things like that where there's a lot of people, and you don't have to, worry about various things that can happen unless you're super experienced. If you're really experienced, that's one thing. But, roller skating's coming back. That's something you can do outside. You can even just take your exercise mat outside and do like your regular crunches and fitness routine outside. And what's really popular is kind of even doing these boot camp classes. Some are indoors, but a lot are outdoors. But the great thing about hiking and swimming is it doesn't cost anything.
No.
Go to the ocean, have a nice swim, great exercise. Go hiking in your favorite beautiful spot. It's going to make your stress melt away, and at the same time you're getting fit, and you don't have to pay to go to a class anywhere. You can always get fit without having to pay for a gym membership. A lot of these classes are really fun, but you don't have to have a lot of money to stay fit. And one of my favorite things, I just love walking around the neighborhood and bothering all the dogs around here, petting them. I think I told you my nickname's a dog stalker. My husband gave me that one. I stalk all the neighborhood dogs. And I go with my husband. We just walk around, and I have a small set of free weights at home. If I can't get to the gym, I go for a really, really brisk walk with my husband and do the free weights when I get home and start doing squats and things like that, and that will keep you fit. So, that's a really fun thing you can do. And also in terms of staying fit at home, if you're someone who has a hectic lifestyle, I know we've discussed you can get numerous apps instead of the old, fitness videotapes that we had a long time ago. You can get these apps. You can do them on your phone. You can do them on your tablet. You can do it through your television. And there's also great things like Techno Gym. And Techno Gym is actually fitness equipment you can use at home, bikes and things like that. And they're, most of the fitness equipment now that they're selling for home, they can work with these apps so you can, ride a trail. And that's really fun to have that additional element. I like to watch TV, but that's just me when I'm doing those kinds of things. If you have the space, I love that. That's my dream, is to have enough space to have a home gym, just for the sake of time. But you can put, fortunately where we are, normally we don't get a lot of rain, but you can put something on your patio. There's a lot of places you can put fitness equipment, spare room, what have you, even just putting a bike in your bedroom if you have enough space there. And then you have, fitness at your fingertips. You don't have to worry about making a class. So we're kind of living in the age where there's no excuse not to stay fit. So no excuses, everyone. You can find the time. 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, but do it.
All right.
I stand in my kitchen making dinner, doing little lifts to help my calf muscles.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yes, you have to find unique things, but it all helps.
So we are completely out of time. Let people know how they can find and follow you on social media and how they can watch Alive and Well TV.
Well, you can go to our website, aliveandwell.tv, to find us on social media. Locally, you can see us on KVVB, and we're syndicated nationwide, so check your local listings.
Well, Michelle Harris, as always, it is such a treat to have you on the air with us. We look forward to the next time we get to have a conversation.
I can't wait, have a great Memorial Day.
Thank you, you too. So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
Now here's word about a free homebuyer workshop on Wednesday, April 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Century 21 Lois Lauer, 1998 Orange Tree Lane, California exit of the 10 freeway in Redlands. Dinner will be provided. There's opportunity prizes and giveaways, but seating is limited. Learn to provide strategies for home buying in 2019. Create your action plan. Learn about credit, mortgage, insurance, and more. Hosted by Elite Financial Credit, Financial 2000, and Joe Amlani State Farm. RSVP today at 909-570-9048. That's 909-570-9048 or info at elitefinancialcredit.com. This is Joe Lyons. Guardian Jet Center now honors every American who has made the ultimate sacrifice while serving in our armed forces.
May 27th is Memorial Day, and we salute Navy Chief Edward C. Byers, Jr., who served his country above and beyond the call of duty. In December 2012, Byers was part of a hostage rescue force in Afghanistan. As they breached the building where an American hostage was being held, Byers stood in the doorway, fully exposed to enemy fire, clearing a path for his men. The first man to enter was mortally wounded by enemy fire, but Byers rushed in and engaged two of the enemy in hand-to-hand combat. When he heard the American hostage call out, Byers jumped on him to shield him from a barrage of enemy fire, and while covering the hostage, immobilized another enemy guard until a team member could neutralize him. Chief Edward Byers was awarded the Medal of Honor for service above and beyond.
Today, Guardian Jet Center salutes the men and women whose sacrifice has made the American way of life possible. Guardian, the most advanced fixed-based operator at Ontario International Airport, redefines the expectations of the general aviation business traveler, one client at a time. Single-engine or cabin-class aircraft give Guardian the opportunity to enhance the customer experience. The Guardian Jet Center is the gateway to Southern California.
For several years, KCAA has been marketing the Youngevity brand of nutritional and personal care products. Our experience with Youngevity has been 100% positive, so we are pleased to recommend them to you. Regarding nutritional supplements, we recommend Pollen Burst in the berry flavor and Tangy Tangerine 2.0 in the tablet form. For regularity issues, we recommend 3-Day Cleanse, and for personal care, we recommend Morning Hydration Cream. You can shop online for Youngevity at www.kcaateam.com, or you can order by phone by calling 800-982-3197 and tell customer support that you are part of the KCAA team. Youngevity is an American company based in San Diego. Call Youngevity at 800-982-3197 and ask about monthly auto ship that allows you to buy Youngevity products at wholesale prices. That number again, 800-982-3197.
Looking for a new place to eat? Delicious food at a great value? The Tri-City Center in Redlands is proud to announce the grand opening of a fine new dining establishment. Terry's Diner, at the former location of the Spunky Steer in Redlands, is officially open for business daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with delicious, mouth-watering breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Treat yourself to Terry's tasty dessert menu, such as Terry's famous sundaes, banana splits, hot fudge cake, old-fashioned root beer floats, Frosties, cakes and pies, too. You'll find weekly lunch and dinner specials all under $10, including Angus steaks, burgers, Greek salads, pasta seafoods with wine and beer. Terry's brings years of tasty temptations from DJs in San Bernardino and Alta Loma. Join a new tradition in Redlands. Stop by at 1350 Industrial Park Avenue between Tennessee and Alabama in the Tri-City Center. Google Terry's Diner Redlands on Yelp or find them terrysdinerredlands.com.
The Inland Empire's radio home for the Dave Ramsey Show.
If you want to mess around with the Bitcoin thing and you're in that world a little bit, that's fine. But don't put your freaking life savings in it, doofus.
KCAAradio.com.
We can't be everything to everyone, or can we? The station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And when you hear that tune, you know it's time for Todd's movie review.
So I actually saw 3 movies in the last week.
Wow.
And so I'm going to talk about 2 of them fairly quickly and then linger on one. The 2 I'm going to talk about are ones that are less highly rated in my mind. First of all, Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Okay, I'm not a fan of the game. I'm not a huge fan. I don't have anything against it. It just wasn't somebody who played it a lot. But I am a fan of Ryan Reynolds. Back from his days when he was on Two Guys and a Girl on TV. I enjoy him. I enjoy his humor. And I got to say, there's something just makes me giggle when I hear Deadpool's voice coming out of a Pikachu. But beyond the giggling of Deadpool and a Pikachu, there really wasn't a whole lot to this movie. It was not particularly good story. It was not particularly well acted. Unless you're a big Pokemon fan, I would say save your money. This is probably not a movie that you're going to enjoy in a lot of ways. It just was. There wasn't a whole lot of there for me. I gave it 2.5 stars out of a possible 5, and there's other things to see. One of those other things to see in a totally different genre is John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, and this is exactly what you would expect out of a John Wick movie. If you've seen the movies, they are basically a fight scene from beginning to end, with little one-liners in between. There's not a whole lot of deep, heavy dialogue about people's feelings. This is a movie about choreographed fight scenes, and they are done, excellently and top-notch ways of doing it. They walk through this entire thing, and the battle, John Wick has been put outside this world. This is based on a graphic novel, and so there's a certain amount of boom, pow, blammo, Batman-style shtick that goes on throughout the whole thing. And those who are familiar with the movie know sort of the idea of, the way they pass coins back and forth to get favors, and it plays out very much in line with the world that was created in the first 2 John Wick movies, and they set you up for a 4th one that will eventually be coming down the road, no doubt.
Yay.
I gave it 3 stars. It was what you expected. If it's what you like, then you'll enjoy it. If it isn't what you like, stay away. The last one that I want to talk about, and I want to talk a little bit more in depth about this one, is a movie that won't be out officially until the end of the month, but I got to go see an early screening of Rocket Man. Now, this is a great movie, but there's a lot that it's not. This is not the movie that you probably think that it is. Okay, it's not an Elton John version of Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, this movie's a musical. There will be people who break out in song randomly, which is shocking if you're going in expecting to see Bohemian Rhapsody done as Elton John, because that's not it. This is really not even a biopic about Elton John and his band, because his band members aren't even mentioned by name. They're just kind of shrugged over. And in the early days, they actually were very cooperative in the studios in arranging and creating the music. And that's completely glossed over. This really is a voyage through the psyche of a guy who's an addict as he rises to fame while coming to grips with his horrible parents and his own comfort with his sexuality in a time when being a gay man was not an easy thing to do. And at least being openly gay was certainly not an easy thing to do in England at the time. All of the music is sung by the actors and not by Elton John. Okay, so there's no sense of it trying to be Elton John. But Taron Egerton, who plays him, does a phenomenal job. It is just a deep dive into the thought processes of this man and how it comes across. Now, Elton John was a producer on this film, but something else that throws people off is, in Queen, you were introduced to the Queen music in sequence, sort of historically as the songs were released. This is the way it happened. Here, the Elton John music is used totally out of release sequence or historical sequence. Each song is picked to set the mood for a specific scene or a time about what was going on or how he was thinking. The only person that is really brought into this in a big way is his co-writer, Bernie Taupin. And obviously there's lots of other characters in this, but the person who kind of is the theme throughout this. And in fact, it's almost Elton John's homage to his writing partner, about that person who was kind of kept him grounded through all his years, and that he was that he has relied on and really been his brother and the family that he didn't get from his parents, because his parents just seemed to reject him, at least from his perspective. And again, this is his story. He's the producer. He told it. But it is an absolutely beautiful movie, and I have huge respect for Taron Egerton as an actor, putting himself into a role. I saw him in The Kingsman, and I've seen him in as the Eddie the Eagle, and he's done a few other movies, and he's done a reasonably good job in those for what they were. This is just a breakout type role for him. And anybody who compares this to Bohemian Rhapsody is doing this and Bohemian Rhapsody a disservice, because they're very distinctly different movies. But this is just it's a real treat. When it comes out at the end of the month, you should go see Bohemian Rhapsody. I did it. You should go see
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
So
I was doing so good right up till then.
So I know that you're a big Elton John fan, and do you like him more, or is it still about the same after seeing this movie?
I like his music. I think that when he opens his mouth and speaks out of the music, he tends to come across as kind of a terse, petty guy. And I think that won't change at all by watching this movie. He embraces who he is, and he gets that. I think he knows that he has a tendency to be short with people and a little snippy, and I think he presents that very much honestly. He presents his drug abuse and his alcohol abuse and how that has hurt him very honestly in this story. And in fact, the story basically starts with him in rehab, and it starts with a big musical song and dance number is what it starts with, which is, puts you off right from the beginning. If you thought you were going to be sitting down to a Bohemian Rhapsody type of movie, you know right away that's not what's happening here. But I think it doesn't really change my perspective of him as an artist and who he is, and I still really enjoy his music. I don't necessarily think that I would like to. He's not a guy I think that I would like to just sit down in a living room and chat with and hang out with, because I think he is not. I don't know. He doesn't strike me as the most friendly, warm guy. But I think that he's probably changed a lot over the years as well. And in fact, they even address a little bit at the end that he's been with his partner now for like 28 years. He's been sober 28 years. He's been with his partner for 25 years, and that this in 2018 he announced he's retiring from touring. Of course, he's doing a 3-year tour to celebrate his retirement from touring. But that's because he's got some young kids and he wants to be there and help raise them and see them grow up.
It's time to have a more domestic life.
Right. And I think that, kudos for him, because it's not a healthy lifestyle to be out on the road all the time and pushing yourself, from city to city. It's hard work. I mean, it's not like people putting their life on the line, fighting in a war, but it's not easy picking up and moving every day and being somewhere else and putting on a show and putting on a smile. And you see that sort of behind the scenes too, the way it wears on you. So, I mean, I can't say enough about the movie. It's really good. I give it 5 stars. To me, it's one of the best movies I've seen in the last 6 months.
Well, that will be the last word for today. Thank you, Todd. So we're at the end of our show. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
Have a wonderful day, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow. We are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA.